Hello, hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to Inbox Academy. We are doing something a little bit different today. We are going to do a rewrite of subject lines. So, you guys all know how important subject lines are, right? Like they're kind of the locked door to a sustainable, email strategy and everything like that. If people aren't opening your emails, they're not reading them, they're not clicking on them, they're not doing any of the other actions you want them to take. So, the ability to write effective subject lines is one of the best skills you can nurture to become a good email marketer. So that's kind of what we're going to dig in today. And we're going to be using some examples straight from my inbox and really talking about, what's going on with them, what's good about them, what's bad about them, what we can rewrite and make them a little bit better. So diving straight in, this is one that I got recently, actually on St. Patrick's Day. So it says, Lucky you, with a little green heart, your favorites in greens. And we are going to examine both the subject line and the preview text because it's all part of the same thing, right? That's what the person is observing and looking into. So that's the entire thing. And just on the surface level for me, I don't know about you, Rebecca, this one just, it doesn't really do much for me. It doesn't convey much. Like what is going to be inside of this email, right?
Yeah, and honestly, like, I don't know, if I had migraines or, if this is like say it's like a supplement, I'm thinking not knowing where it's coming from. If it's like a supplement company that has like a greens mix that I can add to my smoothie, that's what I think of. But it's like if I was stocked up or I didn't really like that kind of stuff, this would not entice me to open it at all. Like,
Yeah.
they kind of I wish there was a little more curiosity here, but I'm sure you're gonna dig into that a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't wanna throw the brands under the bus here,
Yeah,
but I will
agreed.
I will give you some context that this was an apparel brand, which I did know, of course, looking at the subject line, so you're able to see that from address, but, yeah, I think that what they were trying to do, right, is play to relevance, which is definitely something that you can do with subject lines, being relevant to that day, that week, what that part of the season. That absolutely can help, you know, bring in context. It just gives it almost gives it that level of urgency because it's relevant to like that specific day. But this one just really isn't giving any reason to open it. So I rewrote this subject line as "Don't get pinched." Right? That's the actual thing that they're getting at here is like wearing green, green apparel, things like that. And that is the idea behind it is right, like don't get pinched. You need to be wearing green soon. I think this actually might have been right before St. Patty's Day. And then the preview line that I rewrote is your comfy favorites come in green, right? That's the kind of enticing bit that we're trying to get them to. You can shop for your, these favorite comfy clothes in green, and then you will avoid the pain of being pinched on St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, you can totally tell that I write for a lot of supplement companies because my mind went to, like, green powders and mixes,
Yes,
not green
absolutely.
clothes. But I love the rewrite. I love, like, "Don't get pinched," and yeah, it's just making it more fun and enticing to be like, "Oh, alright, let's see what these look like," like, maybe I don't have what I need for St. Patrick's Day, you know? Yeah, that's great. Great rewrite.
Okay, so the next one is actually from a more a supplement-like brand, so you'll be right at home, Rebecca. So this one is "Spring is almost here," with a little sunflower, I think, "detoxing and the menstrual cycle," plus a spotlight on dandelion and burdock root. So what are your initial reactions, Rebecca?
It's a mouthful. My mind is trying to absorb like a ton of stuff at once. Like, okay, spring is almost over, and then we go into detoxing, and then okay, my menstrual cycle. That is interesting how those go together. And then you're throwing in the spotlight on those specific. It just feels like an overload to me personally.
Absolutely, I agree. There's, like, so much going on here that I'm being drawn in several different directions and not really drawn into the email
Yeah.
that much.
No.
Like, I'm not sure what's inside at all. And again, I think they're trying to play that relevance card, but again, they're just stating the obvious. Spring is almost here.
Mhm.
Okay, but what
What does that
about
have to
it?
do yeah, what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, and so a little context, once I dug into the email, they were kind of, getting into, like, spring cleaning versus spring cleansing and how that, detoxing and things like that. So, I actually think that here, the preview text is actually doing a little bit more work at building curiosity because you are like, "Okay, well, what does detoxing have to do with the menstrual
Yeah,
cycle?" Right?
yeah.
Like,
I was wondering that when I read that first part. I was like, "Huh, like, you don't really associate detoxing with your menstrual cycle." And then it lost me with the too much information, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I thought a rewrite for this one could be a shift that mirrors the follicular phase, right? You're
Mm,
kind of referencing spring without outwardly saying it right
yeah.
away in the subject line, and then why we aren't interested in spring cleansing. So you get that the quotes kind of add that reference to spring cleaning, spring cleansing, and the why we aren't interested in this is bringing in that curiosity of, "Oh, well, what am I gonna learn inside this newsletter about, cleansing and detoxing and
Well,
things."
everybody's on, right? You see so much messaging in spring about, spring cleaning relationships, spring cleaning your home, spring cleaning, your immune system, all this. So when you say why, we aren't interested, it's like, huh, wait a minute. This kind of goes against the grain. I am interested in what they have to say here. That's how it would make me feel being in the holistic health and wellness space. Absolutely. So it's a great rewrite. Good job, Audrey.
All right, the next one here is Pi Day Sale planners for 314. So this is a company that sells like planning notebooks. And then it says, "This one happens once a year. Don't miss it." So this one honestly to me was pretty good. Like it is enticing. However, there's a few red flags going on. So for one, I do feel like there's just kind of a lot going on here, right? Visually, it's hard to even piece out what I want to look at because there's, two different emojis, all caps, an exclamation point and a colon, weird. And then of course, that little dash gets added in by the email provider. It's not actually part of what, the brand types in, but that little dash is there too. And then there's more all caps in the preview text. So it is just a little bit like my eyes don't really know what to look at. So I do think that there's some that they could kind of reduce there and really highlight the pieces that you actually want to highlight.
Yeah. There's also like, I don't know, like your thoughts on this, but I struggle with giving the exact pricing. Like I know you mentioned a little bit, like that obviously is a spam trigger to have, exact pricing and numbers and dollar signs and such like that. But like sometimes you give away too much in the subject and preview line, and it's like they're not going to open up and see, oh, well, gosh, look at these planners. They're beautiful. And like, wow, like maybe I should make an order. Look at the price versus like, oh, I don't need any planners. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you gave me the exact price, you told me what's on sale. And there are times that that is good and is called for, but this just feels like you're weeding people out before you even give them a chance to read your email in a negative way, not a good way?
Yeah, a little bit. And I think too, like you said, if you when you give them the exact amount, it could be enticing for the person who that is the amount they're ready to buy, but you're actually causing a lot of people not to open it at all if that's not the price that they're ready to buy at. And you're losing them viewing anything inside of the email, right? And like you mentioned, definitely there's a couple spam triggers in here. That doesn't mean that this email will definitely land in spam. In fact, it did not for me. It was in my promotions tab, but having, multiple emojis, two is still okay, right? We say don't go over two, but an exclamation part mark and a dollar sign both are, things that can start shifting the the scales towards that spam folder. So you want to watch out for those things and having all of them in there at once, including the all caps. And then the algorithms are pretty good actually at like even reading your words. So having the all caps, having don't miss it, that is like a very strong urgency statement, which can be helpful in getting people to open, but it also can push things towards spam. So, with all that in mind, a little rewrite would just be to, shorten it up, right? We've got Pi Day sale. This only happens once a year, and I think that that itself is enough urgency, and you're still going to stand out and get people to open that email.
Yeah, 100%. Simple, simple tweaks that can make a big difference.
All right. And then here is another one. This one is from actually also an apparel company. Um, it says, ready for round three, Wolverine versus Sea Lion. What is your reaction?
No clue what they're talking about.
And to some extent, it does pique the curiosity,
It
right?
does. I'm
Especially
like,
to
wait, what?
be like, I mean, we're talking about round three. Like, what is that even about? And then Wolverine versus Sea Lion. I mean, that's kind of pretty enticing to me. Former zookeeper here, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, what is this about? So my curiosity is piqued by this one. But I do think there's things that they could do better. Like, I mean, round three of what? Like, especially if I was following along already with this brand and knew what the round three was about, I
Mhm.
probably would actually, my eye would be more drawn to something that said that. So this was actually like a limited March Madness thing. And so if it said, March Madness round three, I think my
Yeah.
eyes would have been drawn to it more knowing kind of a little bit more what was going on. Um, Another thing is like when I went and actually opened this email, it actually said, each of these rounds is only 4 days long. So they were missing a lot of urgency that could have been in this email of, 3 days left in round three could have been a part of that. Or, March Madness round three starts now, showing that kind of urgency of like it's starting and it's gonna end soon, right? Like those kind of urgency pieces I think could have been drawn in a little bit of a stronger way.
Absolutely. Agree.
All right. The next one we have is from a bookstore, and it says celebrate Women's History Month with 20% off titles on bookshop.org. It has a little book emoji, earn commission through your, and then it's cut off. And this is cut off on my desktop.
Yeah, super long. Whew, it's a
So
mouthful.
long, and it's a mouthful. And if you picture this on a phone screen, right, I'm guessing it's gonna cut off at Celebrate Women's History Month, and it chops it off. And to me, I'm a feminist through and through, and yet that is not enticing to me. Especially from a bookstore. I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, I read female authors all day, every day. I don't need to open this email to celebrate Women's History Month.
Yeah.
I don't what's your reaction?
No, I agree. I agree. There's nothing, I mean, this would be one that I would completely skip over. Nothing would catch my eye in this. I agree. It's like it would be cut off and there's so much more they could have done with that for sure.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think to fix this one, moving that 20% off, definitely, like, that's enticing, of course it's
Mhm.
right? I'm a bookie, if it's
Yeah.
20% off, that's very exciting, so moving that to the front of the subject line so that it doesn't get cut off, and then, shortening the reference, again, relevance is great if it's enticing, if it, adds some urgency and stuff, and so that's what my rewrite did, is it used that relevance to add the urgency by saying, so I did 20% off to celebrate because that even adds a little bit of curiosity, right? Celebrate what? You're going to keep reading. And then the preview text only during Women's History Month. So you get the urgency that this sale is going to end. It's only during this time frame. That's why we're celebrating. It's a whole you get it all in a much shorter package, I think.
Perfect. Yeah. I would open that one.
Yeah. All right, and the final one we're going to do today, this is from a ski resort. So very fun, little bit different side of things. It says, buy now, ride now, 26, 27 passes are live. Little snowflake emoji. Grab our lowest rate in decades, starting at just to 39. Initial impressions.
Oh, I don't like the buy now being the very first thing they say. I don't like that. I don't know. I just feel like it's like rubs me a little wrong.
Yeah. I totally get what you mean.
Mhm.
And I will say, when I first read this, I was just so confused. Like,
Yeah.
what are they saying? Buy now, right now? What, like, those are
Like,
two
that's
different
not
things. And
it just
then
like just because
26.
it sounds like you're used to um, what is it? Like, stay I don't even know, I'm trying to think of, like usually you use that of, like, they can buy now or, like, reserve now and pay later or, like,
Yeah.
something like that is what I was thinking that they were first trying to do, and then I'm like, "Obviously, if I bought now, I would be able to ride right now."
Yeah.
I don't know, it's confusing, I agree.
Yeah, and then my brain didn't even really register what 26, 27 passes are, which maybe I don't ski enough, but maybe, a school mom also might register this a little better, right? That they're referencing the years, 2026, 2027, being the that a ski pass goes over 2 years, so you would get a 26,
Yeah.
27. But my brain was just not doing that, so I just was totally clueless on this, and when I actually opened the email, it was an incredible deal. This was an
Oh,
amazing offer. What they actually were trying to say is that you can currently buy a pass for next year, right? 2026, 2027, and you can start writing with that pass right now. And it's the lowest rate that you will ever get for that pass. This is an amazing offer.
that is an amazing offer. Wow.
And it's just totally lost in the subject line. So really wanted to, rewrite this in a way that hopefully gets that across. Also, I mean, they do say in their lowest rate in decades, that is enticing, of course. So, yeah, once I kind of understood that, here was my rewrite. So I put the little snowflake emoji in there to like, bring in the skiers and stuff. And then our lowest rate in decades. And the preview text, your 2027 pass lets you ride today.
Love
Right,
it.
so you're getting that idea that your next year's pass is gonna let you ride right now, and you get that urgency, lowest rate, all of that into,
I love
hopefully,
it.
this summer.
Yeah. So good. Um,
Alright, so that's all of the ones that we have for you today, but if you like this kind of video, if you got a lot out of it, let us know in the comments because we can definitely create more of them. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe to learn more all about email and becoming an email marketer. And of course, definitely check out our email list if you are not on it. We are email marketers. That is where we put out all our best stuff. So go ahead and sign up for that, and we hope to see you again soon. Bye.